That doesn't look good. Water. Hi everybody, so as you can see we've got a bit of a leak in the caravan. It's all focused around the TV aerial. I can't work out exactly where the water is coming through, but I think I know what the problem is. Let me just take you outside and I'll show you exactly what the fault is on the roof. Okay, so this I think is the problem that I have here. This sealant which is around the outside and in fact in the screw holes there, I actually think that that is bathroom sealant because it's gone very, very brittle. And as you can see there's a black ring here which is actually a felt ring, and that is absolutely soaked. So that's what the problem is. Now I could very easily just take all that sealant off and just reseal the whole thing, but I don't know how bad the damp actually is. I don't know how bad the water ingress has been. So what I've decided to do is I've purchased a new bracket here from Vision Plus. This is the direct replacement for ours, and I'm going to see if putting this on, cleaning up, and also just doing some investigation work as well to make sure it's not sodden and wet inside. Putting this one on and doing it properly, hopefully that should cure the fault. So it's pretty cold outside, so it means it's comedy hat time. Safety protection, there we go. I think that looks quite dapper. What do you think? Yeah? Come on then, let's go and get on with it. So the very first step we need to do is we need to pull the antenna out. So what I've done already, let me take this out, is I've uncoupled the coax cable from the amplifier, and I've also unscrewed the P-clips which are holding this on as well. What I'm going to do now is just remove the P-clips from the cable and then loosen off the antenna here as well. That then means that we can go outside and we can pull the antenna out. So it's just a case of just pulling very gently and pulling out. Now that's very interesting. I don't know if you can see that. You see the water running out there, look? Not coming from the outside, which tends to suggest, look at the amount of water coming down there, look. That's interesting. It's bone dry down the outside here, but it's all coming from the centre of the antenna. Okay, so that's kind of good news and bad news at the same time. The good news is that it's not that sealant which I thought originally was the problem. So that's good news, I suppose. The bad news is it's this thing which is broken. As I was pulling it out, water was coming down the coax, down this piece here, which basically meant that water is getting into this somehow, and I'm not really entirely sure where it will be getting in. So I'm going to clean this up and have a good investigation or mooch around and see where the problem actually is. I'm still going to carry on and replace that coupling on the top as well, the actual foot. I'm going to do that anyway because I think that that is going to just cause problems anyway because the sealant is all given up. So I'm going to take it all apart and I'm going to put the new one on anyway. I might as well, I've bought it and I've just opened the packet as well, so I can't send it back. So anyway, let's carry on with plan A. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do all the jobs inside. This is now looking where the aerial used to come through. So what we need to do is we need to remove 4 screws, it looks like, from inside here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll unscrew that plate and then everything is free from the inside. Okay, with the screws now removed, we can now unscrew this piece. Okay, with that piece now removed, I can simply just pull this piece off, and that's everything now released from inside. Now we need to do is unscrew everything from outside. Let's unscrew this cap. Okay, let's have a look, see. So that's the piece removed. 3 more screws to remove here. Pull away. There we go. So let's give this all a really good clean and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm just having a look now at all the pieces that I've taken off of the caravan and I'm just comparing it to the new kit which I have purchased. There's two noticeable differences. The first one is the felt ring. Now this is the one that I've taken off of the caravan. You can see it's quite thin, it's quite flimsy, yeah? The new one is quite thick. Let me show you the two there. So obviously that's a design improvement over the years. So that's pretty good. Now with the felt ring, what I'm actually doing is I'm just running a pilot hole through the felt ring as well, so that when I tighten this down, it doesn't grab and it doesn't distort the felt ring, it doesn't tear it apart. So I'm just very carefully putting pilot holes through the felt ring now, so that when I screw it down outside, I know it's going to go down nice and flat. Now the second noticeable difference is the screws. So you can see the screws are quite small. What I've actually taken out of the caravan, both inside and outside, are screws of that size. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reuse the screws which I've taken out of the caravan. I'm going to reuse the holes which are already there. I'm not going to create new ones. But as a precaution, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run some sealant around the screws as I put them in, and also around the holes as well, just to make sure that everything is nice and tidy. Okay, outside again, comedy hat moment once again. What I've done now is, because I've prepared the felt ring, I've put the pilot holes through it. What I've also done is I left 3 of the screws in there as well. These are the ones which hold this piece down. I've also inserted the screws into this one as well, so that that's ready. The idea being that I'm not going to lose any screws when I'm fiddling around up on the roof. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some extra protection by putting some sealant around the screw holes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath these screws, and I'm going to do it for all 6 screws there as well. Now the sealant I'm using today is Bostik Simpson STR360. It's not a bathroom sealant, it's an exterior, really quite a high grab industrial adhesive. This is the one which the local dealership uses to put awning rails on, etc. Perfect for exterior use. Okay, that's nice and clean. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run a blob of sealant down each hole there. So we're using the original screw holes, we're using the original screws, because they are different sizes to the ones which have come in the kit. So it's just a case now of lining everything up. Because I've already put the screws through, and I've just remembered I'm not wearing one important piece of safety equipment here. Okay, so if that one's there and that one's there, that means that one's there. And indeed, it is. So final thing, I'm just going to put a final flourish of silicone over the top of those screw holes. Okay, so now that's all in place, it's time to fit the cap, and that's going to happen really quite straightforward, because that just needs to literally bed down in place like so. And because I've half put the screws in, I know exactly where it all lines up neatly in the body. So you know what, this is actually a really straightforward job to do. Good, that's all now installed. Okay, so here we go, we're in the final furlong now. Well, it's dead simple. What we have to do, we just got to refit everything back in place. So what needs to happen here is this piece goes in like so, and then we've got this dome piece which refits in here and screws back in place. Now again, I'm going to use the original screws, because the screws which have been supplied are not as big as the ones which are on here. Okay, right, that's that screw back in. So the only thing left to do now is to run a bead of sealant around the outside here and over the screw holes. Let's start by doing over the screw holes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my finger around the entire perimeter. So there we go, I hope you can see that a bit better now. It's not going to win any beauty contest, admittedly. And yes, the edge of my bath really does look like this at home as well. Me and sealants never get on. I've tried and I've tried, but yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, so the last task now is to actually refit the antenna. Now, I've cleaned this up. I haven't gone over the top with cleaning up, to be honest with you. I mean, there's still lots of stuff across the top there, as you can probably see. But I have had a good rummage around and trying to fathom out where the water would be coming in this tube. So I haven't got a hex key with me, and that's what I really need now to get inside this tube here and see if it's actually wet inside. I suspect there's an O-ring in here which has failed or perished, and that's probably what is causing the water to come through the pipework here. So I'm going to have a look to see if that is the case. If it is the case, then I can replace those. If not, then I'll probably use this as an opportunity to upgrade the antenna anyway. This one is the Status 530, and there's new ones on the market which give a lot better performance, and also they've got the features like that FM antenna and DAB as well. So it could be that this is an opportunity for me to upgrade the antenna. So let's head up on the roof and put it in right now. Right, up on the top step, first thing we need to do is feed the coax down like so. And then I've got Angela inside. There we go. And then just gently feed everything through the new foot. Going careful not to interfere with the rubber too much. And there we go, that's down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to swivel it around so it's facing back, and there we go, that's that in place. Lovely, all done. I'm just going to wind up all the way, lock it off, and that's it, nicely done. Good. There we go guys, that is the new mounting socket in place for our aerial. Now, as I have already told you and alluded to in this video, it never looked as if it was a fault anyway. Certainly the silicone that was around the outside was breaking up, and it was pretty poor, but it doesn't look as if it actually penetrated into the foot. I am glad I took it off though. I am glad I looked inside, because I wanted to make sure that there was no water actually ingressing into the fabric of the caravan. So regardless of whether it needed doing or not, I am glad I did it, because I was able to double check just for my own peace of mind. Sadly though, it looks like it is the antenna which is knackered. I'm not really sure what part of the antenna is broken, so as I've already said, I might just use this as an excuse to go and get a new antenna and upgrade our existing one that we have already. The advantage is if I go for a similar model, so if I go for another Status 5 whatever it is, that will just literally fit in place exactly the same as that one, so it's a very quick upgrade that I can now do. There's lots of reasons why I would want to upgrade, and I think I'll revisit this in a separate video, but for now the socket is in place. Still got a broken antenna. We'll see if we can fix that in the coming days. So that's it for me today. Any questions, any thoughts, feel free to put them down below, and until next time guys, we'll see you very soon. Take care now, bye bye.